Greetings, Planestalkers and Planestalkers fans. My name is Jake, I am a patron, and when I heard that Will and Aramis were looking for someone to come onto their show and discuss Legacy, I jumped at the chance. So here today, I'm going to begin my inaugural episode talking to the fans about Aluren, a very popular, if not overly powerful, Legacy deck. Aluren, a 4-mana enchantment first printed in Tempest, costs 2 green and says any player may play creature spells with converted mana cost 3 or less without paying their mana cost, and as though they had flash. So if we can find some way to build a loop that gains us life or damages our opponent, and we can go infinite, we can win the game outright. The way we normally do that in Legacy is with a card called Cavern Harpy. It costs 1 blue, 1 black, saw its first printing in Planeshift, is a 2/1 flyer, and it says when Cavern Harpy comes into play, return a blue or black creature you control to its owner's hand. You can also pay 1 life to return Cavern Harpy to its owner's hand. So we've got a way to bring creatures back in and replay them with the Cavern Harpy and the Aluren. Now we need some way to drain life out of our opponent. This used to be most commonly done with Parasitic Strix. A 3-mana artifact bird costs 2 and a blue for a 2/2 flyer, and when it comes into play, if you control a black permanent, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Pairs really well with Cavern Harpy in it, which is a black permanent. You can play the Cavern Harpy, bounce the Parasitic Strix to your hand. Then you can play the Parasitic Strix, pay 1 life to return the Cavern Harpy to your hand, play the Cavern Harpy, bounce the Parasitic Strix to your hand, and now I'm talking in circles because we have established an infinite loop where we can drain our opponent for 2 life as many times as we want. The addition of Uro added a whole new level to the deck, where now we have another card that costs 3 that we can pair with the Cavern Harpy and basically draw our entire deck. So if we don't have the Parasitic Strix, we have some redundancy built in, and we can get this going without having the exact cards in our hand. The problem is, this kind of makes this a 3-card-ish combo, where we have Aluren, Cavern Harpy, and some kind of payoff card like Parasitic Strix. Now in Legacy, assembling a 2-card combo is plenty hard. Assembling a 3-card combo is way harder. So, one of the things the deck has picked up and people are starting to run is Acererak the Arch-Lich. It's a 3-mana 5/5 from from the Forgotten Realms. It costs 2 and a black, and it says, when the Arch-Lich enters the battlefield, if you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, you can you have to return Arch-Lich to your hand and venture into the dungeon. Now, how does this help us win the game? Well, luckily there's 2 important things there. 1, it doesn't say we have to venture into Tomb of Annihilation, and 2, a different dungeon, the Lost Mine of Phandelver, has one of the rooms, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. So essentially, if we can get Aluren out, which is the whole point of the deck, that's what we're working towards, and then we can get our Arch-Lich out, we now have a 2-card combo that we can drain our opponent out for infinite life. Now, part of the Lost Mine of Phandelver is at the end of it, you have to draw a card. And so you might think, if my opponent has more life than cards in my library, I can't kill them because I have to go through the entire dungeon. Because remember, since we can play the Arch-Lich as many times as we want for free, thanks to Aluren, we can play it and venture and bounce it, and play it and venture and bounce it. But we have the ability to stack our triggers such that when it comes into play at the end of our Lost Mine of Phandelver dungeon, we can actually return it to our hand before we draw a card and replay it. Essentially, building a stack of infinite draw cards underneath a stack of infinite, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's really cool to see older decks like Aluren, who has always kind of been a tier 1.5, tier 2, maybe tier 2.5 deck. Really fun, really good, but not quite good enough. See a card that can kind of boost it up a little higher and get it a little more punching power in this really powerful format of Legacy, where you can do a lot of really cool things like play an Arch-Lich infinitely to win the game. That's all I've got for this week. My name is Jake, I'm your leader in Legacy, and I cannot wait a week.